right, take two. Because like an idiot, I forgot this thing upstairs. So, all right, as you see, I'm back in Germany, back in my recording space. And I wanted to do a Lolita vlog because it's been 1 year since the Kawaii Melanin Collab of the series My Life as a Black Lolita. So, for the 1 year anniversary, everybody wanted to do a My Life as a Black Lolita. How has your life pretty much been as a Black Lolita for the entire 365 days? So there's going to be some questions. Unlike last time when I had my snazzy book, I don't have my snazzy book. All I have is my little snazzy phone. So let's begin with the questions and let's do this thing. So since the release of My Life as a Black Lolita videos, have you noticed differences in attitudes, behaviors in your local community? As suggested by Marina. Okay, this is going to be kind of tricky. So, it's no great secret that I moved to freaking Germany last year. So, and I only got to meet a handful, like 3 Lolitas from the Stuttgart Lolita community. And then lockdown occurred and I moved. Actually, let's get it straight. I moved, and then like a day after we moved, lockdown had occurred, and I moved to the town. I moved to Germany to Stuttgart, and then from Stuttgart to the little town I'm living in. So after we moved to the little town that I live in, everything shut down, and it's been off and on shut down for a hot while. Currently, there is no lockdown like that. There's still procedures that you have to, protocols and stuff you have to follow here in Germany. So I said all that to say this. I only went to one mini meetup last year. So I can't exactly say how things have changed. One, the Stuttgart Lolita community is a brand new community to me. And 2, I just moved here and again, lockdown, fucking coronavirus caused a lot of chaos, and I didn't get a chance to meet a lot of, like we did one in person, that little teeny meetup, and then I did one online meetup, which that was fun, but that was an additional 3 people that I met. So in total, I met 6 Lolitas here in Germany, and I don't know what the community was like before I got here. And again, there have, like, I think there was one meetup, but I was in the U.S. last week and didn't get a chance to participate. So a lot of stuff has happened, and I don't exactly know. And I can say from my former community, the Central Florida Lolitas, there wasn't a lot of hullabaloo with them. It has the reputation of being a community with very little drama. There isn't a lot of, and even when I was there wasn't a lot of like theatrics going on where you have all these power plays and people are trying to, be like top banana. It wasn't any of that sort of thing. And there definitely wasn't any racism because there were quite a few Black Lolitas in the mix of that. And every meetup I had gone to was perfectly fine. There was no sideways glances. There was no like undertone of just, why are you here? You don't really belong. And I know these things go on in other communities, but I have counted myself super duper lucky. In every Lolita community that I have ever been in, there has never been this undercurrent of racism or even like, not sexism, but like even like people that aren't welcoming of people who are gender non-conforming or things like that. It's just always been, no matter what community I've been in, it's always been really chill. So I truly count my blessings that I've never had to deal with any kind of racist fuckery, but I do know that kind of thing does go on, and it does happen to Lolitas of Color, and I am so sorry that those things happen to you. And I guess I would say my advice, if that ever happens to you or you ever experience someplace that you don't feel comfortable, don't try to don't try to force yourself to fit in. Don't try to be the round peg in the square hole. The problem isn't with you. The problem is with those people. And you can always be a lone Lolita skibbity-doo-dying about your day and being happy, being by yourself. Yes, it feels better to have like a community of people, but there's nothing and no one and nothing to say that you can't be the lone rogue Lolita doing what you do and keeping it moving. So always keep it moving and never feel like you have to stop being who you are or doing what you like because somebody makes you feel uncomfortable. Again, that's their issue. It's not yours. So you're not allowed to, I'm not going to allow you to hold on to that baggage is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll go on to the next question. After hearing the experiences of others, have you felt less alone when it comes to dealing with racism? Suggested by Veronica. Again, this is a hard one for me to answer because I've never experienced it. I had like glimmers of it when I was in Germany 2 years ago when we went to Animagic was the name of the con. Like, I got sideways glances, but again, I didn't realize that was possibly due to my race until like a whole year after that had happened. So it's just kind of like, I've never, one, I'm going to admit, I am blissfully unaware of fuckery when I'm out in public. Pretty much when I put on my Lolita, I know there's going to be a certain amount of stares and weird fuckery that I'm going to get when I'm out and about anyway. So kind of in addition to expecting some kind of weird fuckery to go down, it's always kind of like I kind of put blinders on. And I don't know if that's just because I'm oblivious just in general, if it's because I grew up in Philadelphia and unless something is an actual danger to yourself, you kind of don't pay attention to your surroundings like that. I don't know, but I don't realize when people are being racist, like directly, unless it's directly, I don't realize it when it's direct. I realize it when it's direct, but if it's indirect, it's just kind of like, again, it's a you issue. It's not a me issue. So, yeah, it doesn't, racism, unless it's overt and directed toward me, I don't give a fuck. And I'm going to probably continue to say this. It's a you problem, not a me problem. So, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. But I feel bad for people who have experienced racism in any form, especially in Lolita. It's like, come on now, y'all. We are seriously a subgenre of fashion. We are a super niche subgenre of fashion. Get your shit together. There's no reason why we shouldn't just get the fuck along, because I'm telling you what, regular everyday people walking around the block are going to look at us like, what the fuck is wrong with these little Bo Peep bitches? And that's what people think. How many times have I been told, are you doing a play? Are you like, what the fuck, why are you dressed like this? Like, where are your sheep, little Bo Peep? And it's just like, why are we going to give each other shit? We should be clinging to each other like glue. And what the fuck are we doing that it's like, oh, well, black people are really supposed to be like this. Black people, any people, are supposed to be whatever the fuck they want. And that is just how the ball of life bounces. And if, again, you have a problem with it, it's a you thing, and you probably need to get some counseling or some kind of help in your life, because shit ain't gonna change it. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want, so I don't know what the fuck to tell you. So, again, do what makes you happy. If putting on a frilly dress is truly what is going to take you out of the doldrums of life, put on your fucking frilly dress and keep it moving, because life is too short and oftentimes too sad or stressful or just like, what the hell, to be worried about some racist asshole with some dumb shit to say who you don't know from a can of paint. So let's just not and say fuck you. So I'm not even going to say let's just not and say we did. Let's just not and say fuck you. Do what you need to do to keep yourself happy. So I don't, because I've never experienced racism, I can't really 100% answer that. But for those of you who have, please don't ever let anybody else's baggage stop you from being happy. So please don't ever let that stop you from being happy. I don't want to hear stories like that anymore. Like, well, I don't want to be a Lolita because somebody said something, and it's just like, and people are going to say things. So let this be your shield of armor. Let this lace, these frills, these ruffles, these prints, let them be your shield of armor. And you go out and do whatever fucking battle you need to do and tell people to fuck off. So, and nothing's, I'm telling you, you want to shock the shit out of some people, tell somebody to fuck off in a frilly dress. They will look confused. They will be like, no the fuck, I just did not get cursed out by some chick in a frilly dress. Yes the fuck you did, motherfucker. So how about some of that? So I'm just saying, coat of armor. I'm not saying you're invincible, but what the fuck is somebody going to tell you? Some woman in a frilly dress told you to fuck off. Where do you go from there? It's like you just kind of got to walk away and be like, well, damn, and maybe reevaluate your circumstances, because I'm serious. Nobody's going to expect that. So, how has living this past year in a pandemic affected your relationship with your local con / relationships with Lolita fashion? Suggested by Veronica. I don't know. Because, again, I just moved here like 10 months ago. Honestly, again, I went to one online meetup, and I went to one mini tiny meetup, and I think my relationship with the German Lolita community is copacetic, but at the same token, I'm not in the mix like that because Germany has been locked down and they just only recently unlocked down. So I can't really answer that. And I haven't been to any of the meetups for the Central Florida Lolita group because they're usually, they're East Coast, so that's 6 hours behind what time the fuck it is right now. I'm looking at my laptop clock, which I never turn to German time. It is currently 6:43 a.m., which means it's 12:43 Germany time. So time zones, I'm not gonna be up 2 o'clock in the morning like, hey y'all, struggling, lipstick all cockeyed, eyelashes. Well, I don't wear eyelashes like that, but just to say for the sake of argument, eyelashes supposed to be down where my eyelashes is like up here. No, I can't do it. So I guess my relationship, I'm not gonna say it's strained, but it's definitely not where I wanted it to be. I had hoped like I'd be going to all kinds of tea parties and meetups and doing like whatever it is German Lolitas do. And I can't do any of that because fucking coronavirus. So this is why people can't have nothing. This is why Lolitas can't have nothing. Can't have nothing nice in their life. You gotta be sitting in a corner like we'll see what happens now that things are freed up a bit. I'm hoping things will be better, but I don't fucking know. But right now, it's like there wasn't anything going on, so we'll have to see what the rest of the summer comes. So, and I'm keeping an eye on the Stuttgart Lolita group to see what is talking. What are your overall thoughts on the state of the community since it originally aired? Has it improved, gotten worse, stayed generally the same, and why? So suggested by Veronica. Y'all are throwing me some curveballs with these questions because a lot of them I can't answer because I haven't been in the general flow of stuff since moving. And I really, outside of doing my vlogs and outside of talking to a few Lolitas every now and then, I don't really kind of ingratiate myself into the online space because I know how weird that online stuff can get and how quickly it devolves. And I like Lolita. It is my outlet to be happy and creative and to dress as fruity as I could possibly be. So I really don't get involved with the online space because I worry that it's just gonna be some kind of fuckery that I'm gonna have to end up walking away from. So generally, I will say for me as a whole, independent of the fuckery that went on in January. I'm not going to discuss that whole thing again. I think for the most part, things have gone back to being, I guess, what you could call stasis. I haven't heard anybody arguing and fussing and whiling. It's actually been really quiet since January, and it kind of leaves me in an antsy, like, who will say some dumb shit next that everybody gonna be on like a tirade about. But I try not to think negatively of people. I try to think, okay, as long as they're like at stasis, I can do everybody chillaxing and not at each other's throats. So I think as a whole, for race relations in Lolita, I just haven't seen, even living in another country, I just haven't seen a whole lot of just people being cruel to one another. I mean, I know it goes on. I know you still have stuff like CGL and I guess, but as a whole, I haven't seen a whole lot this year of people just arguing and making assholes out of themselves. And I'd like to keep that going, Lolita community. I know it's hard. I know you want to fight and argue and fuss, but let's just keep shit at stasis, shall we? Because quiet is the best way to be. I'm not saying you got to sit there and take people's fuckery, but it would help if you're not, trying to, I don't know, come out of your face basically and say the most gross, egregious shit you can humanly possibly come up with just for the sake of just stirring a pot of controversy. So I think things right now are good. Things can always be better. Things can always improve. But right now, I think things are pretty freaking good. And I don't know. I guess that I can handle that. I can't really handle too much fuckery. So I'm sorry if that's not the answer anybody's looking for. But for me, I don't see a lot of fuckery right now. So, and I always try to keep my ear to the ground when it comes to fuckery. What is something Lolitas could do to make the Lolita community more inclusive? Suggested by Kalista. Again, I just said that. Like, things can always be better. Try maybe, if you're a community leader, try putting something on your community's, like, front-facing page. That we are inclusive of all people, of all situations, that we don't discriminate. That way people don't feel, a little hesitant. Because I could see where people feel hesitant. Like right when you are, because a lot of Lolita communities, you have to ask for permission to join. So maybe when you're doing that asking permission thing, maybe put in here, in one of the questions, we're a community that welcomes everyone, all races, all ethnicities, all gender or gender non-conforming individuals. You need to be okay with that, or something in that like vein, something that states outright, hey, we support these people. So if you're gonna have a problem with that, you might not want to hang out here. And yeah, I know people can lie on those things to just join it, but if you're gonna be thrown into the mix of people that are going to potentially make you uncomfortable, it would be my suggestion that you don't lie, that you be truthful, not only on that question, but be truthful with yourself. Am I not going to be okay if black people are around me? Am I not going to be okay if somebody is LGBTQAI+? Like, just ask yourself that before you answer anybody's questionnaire. That's the conversation you need to have with yourself. So just make sure you are honest with yourself about what you can handle. So, but I think that would be a good way to keep communities inclusive. So people, especially when you're new, you don't know what the fuck you're stepping into when you're a new Lolita. You just found this fashion and it's like, what the fuck? I gotta be a part of this, but I don't know. So it would be probably helpful, especially for new people arriving into the fashion, that they have something to say, that like the community, the local community say, hey, we include everyone. So if you're not okay with that, you might want to abandon ship right now. So, but that's the most I can think of to make a community more inclusive. So again, all the communities I've ever been a part of, they have been very welcoming, and there's never been any weirdness or anything like that. I've never felt uncomfortable at any meetup I've ever attended. So, but if you wanted to do a little more, I think that would be like the opening first step. So, out of all the experiences shared in this series, what one has stayed with you? Suggested by Callista. I can't remember who this was last year, but they said their parent, someone had said that their parent was against them wearing Lolita, that black people don't wear Lolita, and that she shouldn't be wearing it either. And I was floored, for one, by that statement, and two, my mother is so like not like that. Neither of my parents are. My parents have been together since, I don't know, 1,000 years ago. So my parents are married and they've been together forever. But neither of them are the type of person to be like, you don't need to be wearing it because black people don't wear that. Probably because my parents are weird. My dad reads comic books. So, and my brother and my dad, when I'm around, they will still talk about comic books. So I'm saying, I guess I am part of that black sheep family, except instead of me reading comic books, I wear frilly clothes. But that just floored me that a parent would say that to their adult child. It would have floored me even if a parent said that to their child. What the fuck does ethnicity have to do with wearing a frilly outfit? Like, I don't see the correlation here. So, oh my God. I really wish my mom could have spoken to that person's mom, because my mom needed to have a chat with them. But you know what? It kind of reminds me, last year I had like that whole situation on International Lolita Day where my husband's surrogate mother had a fucking hissy fit about Lolita, and she went off the deep end, and I was like, I'm so grateful my mom isn't like that. That is what that reminded me of, because her statement was, well, none of them are going to get married because they wear this weird fashion. And I'm just like, that by in and of itself is kind of a stupid statement, because I am married to your surrogate son. What the fuck are you even talking about? So if she's wearing Lolita and a bunch of other black people are wearing Lolita, that's a not realistic statement, because, hello, obviously black people are wearing this, so what are we even doing or talking about? Yeah, that just floored me, and I just really wanted to ask for that. I cannot remember who that was, but I really wanted to, like, can I get your phone number for your mom so my mom can talk to your mom and we can just have it out? Because there's just, oh my God, just mind-blastingly crazy to me. So that is the one thing that everybody, out of all the experiences, that just fucking floored me. And I'm just like, can my mom call your mom? Because that needs to happen. So I can't remember what the end result of that was, but it just, I got stuck there, and it's been a year and I haven't gotten unstuck from there. So I don't know. And the last question is, Juneteenth has become a federally recognized holiday in the United States. How do you feel about this, as suggested by Marina? All right, man. Full disclosure, I didn't fucking know about Juneteenth until I watched Atlanta about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, because, again, I grew up in Philadelphia, and black people up north were free. Yeah, we had racist issues. There's race problems up north. People try to pretend that it's not. It's more covert than overt. So you kind of got to really watch certain things, watch certain places. But up north, Juneteenth wasn't a thing because slavery wasn't really a thing, especially in Pennsylvania, which was founded by Quakers, and Quakers were principal in the abolitionist movement. So I didn't really know Juneteenth was a thing until Atlanta, and I was a full fucking adult by that point. So how do I feel about Juneteenth being a federally recognized holiday? I think it's a step in the right direction. I think as far as race relations in the United States go, we got so much work to do. There's just so many thoughts I have as a whole about race relations in the United States, and a lot of it stems from living in another country. But I think it's a good first step in trying to. Can I just say this? We need to stop, as a nation in the United States, we need to stop being drunk as fuck on our own mythology. There's this pervasive, weird ideology that because we had a black president, there's no such thing as racism anymore. And it's just as bad as it's always been, maybe a little worse. And part of that, again, is just being drunk on our own mythology. And talking to a couple of German people who actually speak English, you realize how, like, pieced together our history is, and it slants very pro-American. And I don't think you can have honest discussions about history when you're trying to slant it to X, Y, and Z is the greatest X, Y, and Z at X, Y, and Z. I think in order to have real change and real honest conversations about systemic racism and the problems that it causes and the hurt and pain that it causes, is you got to stop the gaslighting of black people. That would be helpful. And you got to stop with this, like, we don't have these problems here, because we do. And it's time to just, as a nation, start being honest and start trying to make real change happen, because... yeah, I'm glad that you recognize Juneteenth as a holiday. Not that this, because 2 years after slavery was abolished in Texas, they were like, oh, we're just not going to tell anybody. Until some guy rolled up and be like, oh, you know, slavery was abolished like 2 years ago, right? So, independent of that, we need to start having real conversations as a nation and stop trying to paint this that we don't have these issues and we're not really like that, because we are really like that, and nothing's going to change until we stop lying to ourselves. So I know that's not the answer to the question you might have been looking for, but the weird thing about living in another country is it gives, especially moving to another country during a pandemic and not being able to speak the language and being able to converse with other human adults, it's left me in a very philosophical place. I have really taken an outside looking in approach to looking at the history and the state of my birth country. And a lot of what I have to say would probably be very controversial to some people, but again, it's because you're not being honest about who we are as a nation. I don't think we'll ever really get to a good place until we start having those real, honest, deep, genuine, uncomfortable conversations. So, and being honest, and sometimes, as they say, the truth hurts. So until we start being truthful, Juneteenth is a nice holiday. It's really good that you recognize it, but it's just the tip of a really scary, awful iceberg that needs to be addressed. So, and of course, much like when I went to Japan 6 years ago, I left for Japan on Independence Day. I came back to Germany on Juneteenth. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, but whatever. So, it's been a really crazy year. Like I said, I've been in a deeply philosophical place about a lot of different topics, mostly about my country, but I guess, I don't know. So, but happy belated Juneteenth, everybody, and I hope things start to improve soon, because I don't even know. But as for my Lolita frilly friends, what do I chronically say on this channel? I want you all to be the weird and wonderful you that you are. I never want you to stop being frilly because of someone else's nonsense. This is too much. Life is too short, too painful, too stressful, too sometimes boring to not kick ass and take names in a frilly dress. So, got that going. So, that is all I have in almost a fucking half an hour. So, let me get out of here, because y'all know I don't edit nothing. So, until next time,